On this episode, we take hit after hit on the .Zen build, but we do not give up. Don't miss this one. Let's pick up where we left off on the last episode of the Datsun engine build. We got the headers all welded up and got the motor reinstalled in the car. Now it's time to build the top end. Got my push rods in and one of my rockers on. And I'm tightening my bolt down by hand with my socket. And I'm gonna check and be sure that our push rods are the right length. When we checked our push rod length, we had to learn how to do it. We confirmed with the comp guys how to figure out which length push rods we needed. What you do is you tighten the bolt down by hand. You rotate your engine around and look down into your valley to be sure that the lobe is away from the lifter. So now that we know that's true and we've tightened the bolt down by hand, what we want is 3/4 to a full rotation. So we're going to take it around and watch and see when it tightens up. Cool, about 3/4 of a turn. Perfect. It's really important whenever you do mods, like you change a cam, you change heads, you change your valve springs, you have to change your push rods too. And because these are bolt down rockers, there's no adjustment there. You have to have the right length push rod. So when we checked ours, we had a few different push rods laying around the shop and we just checked our lash and how many turns we got out of the push rod to find the closest length, and then we called comp back and told them which one was the closest, and then they did their fancy math to figure out exactly which push rod we needed, and that's what it takes. I have just started the process of hooking up our pre-looper from Melling. We're really excited to use this thing. So they sent us all the fittings we need, the hose from the engine to the tank, and I've been watching videos and reading instructions on how to use this thing. So hopefully I can make it work and it will pre-lube our engine and make sure we don't start it up dry. So I've hooked up our main line into this auxiliary cord at the front of the motor. They sent each fitting that we needed and the adapter. And we'll take it down right into the tank. I'm gonna tighten that up. And Aaron put me a oil pressure gauge on here so we can monitor the pressure inside the motor, but they said that you just watch and you'll see all of the oil pushing through the rockers, so pretty sweet. Our tank has a cool dipstick to check our oil level too. 90. Gonna get it up to 120.
Okay, see what we got.
I hear it. Don't have oil pressure yet. That pre-luber is an awesome tool. However, we missed a vital component to achieving oil pressure. Later in the episode, you'll see it. As you can see, we're gonna have to cut the hood. One down. Just for good measure.
Supposed to do.
Yeah. Installing this intake is reminding me why my tummy's growling and I'm hungry. We don't have any money for food.
Oh shit.
Car parts over food.
Yeah, this must have been.
Oh my god, babe.
Oh my god, that looks beautiful.
That is pretty
sick.
insane. Hot damn,
Yes.
babe. Datsun. Aaron's working on fuel system, and I'm going to install our electric water pump. I'm pretty stoked about. This is our Davies & Craig electric water pump. I was exposed to this unit at PRI when my friend Cody Loveland introduced me to these guys, and he runs one of these on his LS-powered hypercar. It's operated off of a controller, and so it makes the engine way more efficient, way less drag, and cools a lot more efficiently. Like for sitting in traffic, this thing's cooling much better than if a mechanical water pump is cooling because the car is idling. Because we're wanting to run a lot of RPM with this engine, the less drag we can have on the rotating assembly, the better. So this electric water pump is going to be really cool. All the piping comes from, of course, the water jackets right here. Water ports. Water jacket?
Water jacket, I'll call it that.
Okay. From the water jackets right here, and then comes around and our pump sits over here. So it's gonna be cool. I'm excited.
Kegerator just turned on.
Oh man.
Beer time.
Beer time.
That's how I know when to start drinking, when the kegerator comes on.
Yeah, it's only 10:15 right now, but if it kicks on, right?
It's a sign.
Yeah. This is impossible to get a bolt in because of the neck here. It's like, boom, won't go in. So they sent you a stud to install, and then you put the nut on the stud. Okay, I have my holes drilled for where I'm gonna mount the pump on the inner fender. Should work. Fingers crossed. We have our water pump here mounted. I used a couple of nuts to shim it out a little bit because when Aaron originally mocked it up, he thought it was going to be closer in, and so he cut our hose a little too short. So I can't suck it up against the wheel well, so I'm having to kind of space it out a little bit. I'm gonna see if I can reach it from inside the wheel well to out here with these long gangly arms. Let's see. Make it work. Where'd my screwdriver go?
Which one? Phillips?
Phillips. That's it. Thanks, babe. Sweet. Now we just need a radiator and some radiator hoses. We'll be set up. These metal ties are tearing my hands up. I'm trying to finish the wrap job of the titanium header wrap to keep heat off the oil pan, cover up our beautiful welds, and it looks pretty cool. But it's been a job. Holy moly, I've been on this for like 6 hours now. But yeah, when I trim the ends of these metal ties off, it's really hard to make them lay down nicely. It's been kind of brutal. But I'll get over it. It's really hard though to wear gloves and to do these little ties where you have to grab the end and pull it out. I was just like, oh my gosh, I have to take my gloves off for this, and then I ended up bleeding. So, blood, sweat, and tears, I guess is the idea, right? We forgot brackets for our coil packs from Fast, so we jacked the ones off of our Suburban to be able to run the car. I like the way that they call these fire wires.
What they are. Fire.
They breathe fire. We forgot that we didn't fab up a throttle cable, and we're really desperate to crank this thing up, so we're rigging one. This is how we're gonna try to make a throttle cable. We're gonna hook this wire so we can yank it from here. This is our throttle action. There it is. Wah! 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 My car sounds kind of sucky. Wah!
Just checking our wiring connections, make sure everything's plugged in. Hello?
Hey, Lincoln here.
I'm going to put you on speaker. Emily wants to hear too.
Alright.
Hi, Chris.
How you doing?
So, read all tunes. We're going to go into
Get the system configuration, go to fuel count parameters.
full count parameters. Okay.
Alright. cubic inch should be a 364 with a
Got it.
33-pound injector, right?
Correct.
Yep, you got it.
Super sweet. All right. So now go back to view and go to system configuration again,
Okay.
and we're going to go down to sensor calibration,
Oh, we're gonna do TPS.
TPS.
Here's the thing, I don't have my gas pedal set up, so we're gonna have two people to do it.
What kind of horseshit is
I know.
Well, you see what happened was.
It's all about priorities. I figure that we can drive with a string if we have to. I'm trying to get it running.
Click auto calibrate,
Okay.
and then click OK.
Okay.
Go to view dashboard. So TPS should be reading 0.
Yep, we're on 0.
Alright, now have some unlucky person go out there and move the throttle blades all the way open and then all the way closed. Do that like 2 times.
They're kind of slow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. At wide open, it was 100%, and then it drops back down to 0.8.
Okay, beautiful. So that works. And let's see, I'm thinking of anything else we need to do. Really shouldn't be anything else. Which one of y'all's ready to start it? Hit it. Let's see if we've got any RPM.
Fuel pressure's not reading. We'll go backfire. The fuel pressure's an issue. It's firing like the timing's off.
It's really not seeming like it's sounding like it wants to.
Did we ever get pressure on here? I'll cycle the keys.
Okay.
See if we get any kind of pressure there.
No fuel pressure.
Okay.
Okay, babe. No fuel pressure at all.
Okay, so the fuel pressure gauge where you've got it tied in at, is that coming from the fuel rail?
From the fuel rail into the regulator.
The gauge.
The fuel pump's coming on, right?
Fuel pump is coming on, yes.
Okay. And we got fuel at the lines, but why's the gauge not reading anything?
Now, I've not adjusted the pressure regulator.
I wonder if it's just
Are we
closed all the way
supposed to
down.
connect these two?
It's interesting. But what's more interesting is
Yeah. We are. Emily just noticed something that completely f***s us.
Or it's opposite of that. This is a solution.
Our fuel rails are not connected on the end. I've got them both capped off.
We never find problems.
Yeah, that makes sense.
okay. So you've got to catch on. That explains why, because you're getting fuel to one side of the rail, not across it to the other.
This may spray fuel out.
And that's why the sensor is raised 100, probably because it could be worse. So you could have forgotten to hook the lines up completely.
It's true.
You got some rigging going on.
Yeah.
That's actually,
pretty
it's
good.
going to crimp 50 pounds of pressure, so it'll push it open.
The picture sending to you, Chris.
Sweet. Should get it any second.
It might crimp, but Aaron says that it's going to have so much fuel pressure on it that it'll be fine.
Who in the f makes a fuel system that doesn't make a crossover for the fuel rails? If I were building this system,
Look, don't come in here making all your sense and making good judgment on things about how we need to be doing stuff the right way.
Making all your sense.
Avenues, and I have been completely ignored because they have not made the little aluminum piece that I want them to make.
Yes.
It goes on the end.
Yes.
It's just a crossover. You know?
Yes.
Make life a little simpler.
I'm going to arm a log real quick and see if we can get something different going on. Try this now. How much do we have?
45.
45. We need a little more than that. I need to tighten down the regulator a tiny bit to get a little more out of it. Okay. So it still didn't try to start or anything. At least 2 cylinders are trying to fire, but they sound a little bit off time, honestly.
Yeah.
You ready for this?
Yep. Key on.
Yeah.
We have spark.
Okay. So we got spark, we got fuel, let's turn the crank.
Yeah, the spark's good too. Honestly, it sounds to me like it's out of time.
Yeah.
we're cranking it with them cracked, right?
Yeah, we just want them open a little bit.
Okay, let me look and see at what degree I want to do that.
Just something. Because
Just a tiny bit.
what
Yep.
we're thinking is maybe the idles set.
Here we go.
Completely closed.
It's gonna crank. I killed it with lack of air. Oh my gosh!
Hey,
Holy balls!
Emily.
That's awesome! Sounded like a tractor though. I mean, let's be real.
If you were to go like an eighth or a quarter of a turn on each one, should keep everything nice and synchronized.
So we're basically just looking for a little bit of a crack in the throttle blade.
Exactly. It's basically right now the idler control button was flat ass open, but it wasn't getting enough air because of how much, massive air delivery.
Okay. Quarter turn.
And the one that, it looks like an idle screw's got the spring on.
So you're cracking them open a little bit?
Adjusting the idle. Is this going to mess with my TPS?
Yeah, we'll recalibrate it once you get finished up there.
Okay.
It'll take but a second.
Okay, that calibration's done now.
Sweet.
We're going to fire it up. Bear with me. We're going to see if we can clean it out a little bit.
Can I
Zero.
Yeah,
throttle
you need
it?
to. But so Emily, the goal is basically run it to try to blow the spark plugs clean.
kind of hold a higher RPM a little bit?
Yeah.
Cranking the John Deere. Let's go.
That was loud.
Okay, that still sounds like shit. Sounds like it's running.
So,
on
your
half
thoughts?
We're getting there. Better than when we started.
It's running.
Yep,
Woohoo.
it's running. We just grabbed each of the headers to see if we were firing on all cylinders because it sounds so terrible.
Lost
And
my
we've
flashlight.
got
Hold on a minute.
2 dead cylinders on each side. So, yeah.
All the pins are in place.
In place.
Everything's golden. I have a Noid light. I can test the center cylinders.
Okay. Can you get to the injectors to do it?
Yeah, I mean, I'll just pull the wire out and plug into it.
Okay. The green and brown on that harness, it would control your center and 2 injectors on each side. Green
Sure.
on one side, brown on the other side.
Sure. I see the green and the brown, and both of those are through the harness really well. They're sticking out of the plug the same as everything else.
Alright.
I'll keep jacking with it. Appreciate it.
We love you, dude.
Love you guys. Y'all be good.
Later. We continued to diagnose our problems while new parts rolled in. It is coolant system time in the shop. We've got this gorgeous aluminum radiator from Church Boys Racing. Now these guys make parts only for Novas, but they sent us this to see if it would fit in the Z car, and it absolutely does. It came with the mounting brackets on each side, and we just pulled them right off of the radiator, bolted them to the car, and the radiator slid right in. So we were like, golden. This thing is awesome with the built-in fans and everything. Oh, it's beautiful. Let's get it installed. Installed.
It's timing set, let me know.
We talked about this when we placed the order. So why in the hell would they give me that?
So you know that's the one I got. Because I don't have any.
7106.
Okay.
And here's the thing. The cylinders that aren't firing are 3, 4, 5, and 6, right?
Yep, you got it.
Well, the firing order is 1872, click 1872, click
Ah.
18.
Oh
And
my
there's no
God.
no provision for those. Got it.
Oh.
Okay.
All right, so yeah, if you've got the other one, you need a 7102 if you have that there.
I'll find it in a minute.
Okay. Yeah, shoot me a picture of it and I'll tell you if that's the good one to use, and if so, just switch out just the cam gear. You have no idea how much this has been pissing me off like for the past 2.5 days.
Oh, believe me.
I thought I was stupid.
I may have some idea how much this pissed me off. Yep.
Oh my God.
We don't have cam signal on 4-horse cylinders.
I'll start pulling the water pump off.
Glad we didn't have water in it, though.
So, Aaron has busted into beast mode. He switched out the cam gear, and we're praying that that was the problem. Let's see. Yep. Yep, we've got hot cylinders.
Get my oil pressure pulled up. It's showing to not have oil pressure.
Oh my gosh, that sounded sick. Yep, that was all the cylinders. Finally, we have 8 cylinders firing.
I'm 0 at idle, and then it goes up from there. Goes up to 20.
Huh.
We gotta pull that pan.
We crank the car up, and Aaron is like, okay, it sounds great, it's running on all 8, but I have no oil pressure. So then I started Googling, and I ended up on some forums where they were like, you have to have the barbell in there, in the back of the motor, behind the rear cover, or you'll have no oil pressure. So I was like, guys, I think it's the barbell. And Ricky was like, I'll go get one. He went and grabbed that barbell that we needed out of his motor and brought it to us. He's a badass, and he's looking at himself. Look into the lens. Dude, the way that thing revs. Man, that night felt like such a win. That engine revved so fast with those forged aluminum pistons. I had chills. I was freaking out. It felt like a win, but sadly, it didn't last. The next day was Monday, May 29th, which happened to be Aaron's birthday. I had to fly out that day for a job in Ohio that I wasn't to return from until Wednesday night. Tuesday was our 10-year anniversary, which happened to be the day that Aaron started hearing a valve pooping in the engine. He held his hand over one of the intakes and it went silent, and he knew. So he pulled off the head on that side and found that something had gotten inside, gone through the combustion chamber, and been a valve. But he also found a really scary thing, that we didn't calculate the specs of our heads properly. Those heads came off of Roxy. I ran them for probably 100,000 miles, had them decked and ported and polished and worked. Thought we had the right specs on them when we gave Carrillo what we needed in the custom piston that they were building, but they were actually decked more than we thought. Aaron found that the pistons were actually touching the head when they would come up. Now, we clay checked, but we only clay checked the valve area. We didn't clay check the whole surface of the piston. That was the kicker. Something got in there. Aaron rushed the heads off to have them rebuilt, but we knew that we couldn't run the 6-liter. We called Ann and Simon, who have that 64 Impala that we built. They had originally bought a 5.3 for that car before they decided to go boost. We went and picked that up, and Aaron had a bunch of guys come over to the shop, and they were so gracious. They worked so hard and helped him strip that 5.3. He told me, you know, in the middle of it all, he's like, this is hot rodding him. We have to deal with it. We have to just roll with the punches and realize that this car has to be on the tour. So I'm gonna do what I have to do. And he's just a badass. Aaron made it all happen. Bo and Rondi and Max was there the whole time helping and shooting. It was just nuts. Oh my gosh.
So what are you doing, Aaron?
I'm aluminizing this block.
Yeah?
Yep.
Why is that?
Well, because it looks kind of rusty.
Mm-hmm.
And I want it to look like aluminum.
Yeah. Well, it seems like it's working.
I think it is.
Good morning from Flying Sparks Garage. We are freaking prepping this car for a test drive. Holy moly. Our brakes are installed because we got our wheels in and they look awesome. They are American Racing's VF502 and they custom made them for us in a 4-lug. They're an 18x8 up front and an 18x10 in the back. Now since the car is out, they've had a lot of requests for those wheels. So if you want them for your Z car or in a custom lug pattern, you can go to your local American Racing dealer and ask them to order it in a custom lug pattern. So that's what we did, and we're obsessed with those wheels. We got tires in from Continental. We got a freaking door panel we need to install. We got a Finley. And our badass Gibson exhaust installed. Our plan is to get her to the alignment shop later this week. But right now, we kind of need to do an at-home, mini, quickie alignment. And Aaron is pretty good at these. So I'm going to show you what he does. He's got a 2x4 with the screw sticking out. Explain to me what you just did.
Well, I just used that nail to get me a perfectly straight line on the center of the tire. And then I'll measure from that tire to this one, and we'll check how much it's towed in, and then adjust it. This is how we align tractors. It should work on cars too, right? Pretty much the same thing. This is 143.
Okay.
So remember that. The back is 142. We were towed out in the front by 1 millimeter.
Right now.
I know. My water temp's pulled up.
I thought you weren't going to get on it.
I didn't. That was an idle takeoff.
My love. Straight to the gas station.
When the clutch comes in, it comes in.
Means business. That's how my Mantic is. Like, all right, party time. Oh my gosh, we drove her to the gas station, babe. Holy moly. I have a kiss. Oh, this is exciting. James!
It's driving.
Holy cow.
Get a little rubber there.
She's at the gas station. Woo! We may need that someday.
Yeah.
Take it over to the Z-Car rack. Got it. It was sanding night in the shop. I say was because I think we just finished. We popped the flares off and we did 1000 grit on the whole car to prep it to get wrapped tomorrow. We're taking it up to our buddies at Complete Customs, and Dana is the guy that's going to wrap it, and he does a fantastic job. We went with the Avery Dennison matte brown metallic. So we're really curious. On the pictures on their website, it kind of looks more bronze, but we've seen some other pictures of cars with the wrap, and it looks more brown. So we're really curious to see what it's going to look like. are here at Complete Customs where Dana is just starting on the Z-Car wrap. Aaron and I decided on this color at like 4:30 in the morning in the shop after working all day. And we woke up the next morning and we were like, what have we done? We're so scared. We really like our car black, but this color is gonna be pretty badass. Plus, if we don't love it, after a while, we can just pull it back off and go black again. We're really excited to see how this turns out. Dana is rocking it. All of our friends Sunday night in Newton, Iowa to start the tour, and what an adventure it was. The car performed awesome. It was just such a fun time. Thankfully, our electric water pump is keeping her nice and cool.
So here we are. It's hot as balls, and we found a lake. We all stopped and we're gonna go for a swim. Should be a good time.
Okay, this is the freaking best. It is a super hot day on the tour, and we're driving and we see all these lakes, and finally we said on the radio we have to stop and dip in. And look how awesome it is. We just swam, we're getting ready to get back on the road, but it was the coolest stop ever. So nice, the water was super cool, and this is freaking awesome. I love this. Ventures, gotta be spontaneous and say yes. How about Jake's completely bald tire from winning the burnout contest?
So it's just great to see all the red that you have. So we got a few things to do today. We are going to announce the winners for our drawing. We have the three Emma Buff.
The final stop of the tour ended with Brandon and Philip from Hot Rod Magazine shooting the car on the airport runway. It was so cool and the best ending to the trip we could ask for. What a trip. All right, well, we finished the build and we finished the whole week off watching the sunset with Hot Rods photographers shooting us and the car.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's badass. It's so
fun.
exciting. Be sure to watch for more adventures on it because it's only begun. Oh my goodness, we have apparel. The company Just Get Dirty gave us a special section of their website for our apparel. You can get yourself a shirt, guys, girls, and kids. That's how we roll. Go get one.